Jason was present?
Mm-hmm. There were other people present as well, but we don't have any objection to the instruction. All right. Yeah, this is the other 8 pages, the first of that document.
I can't read it. Have you already given this to him?
No, for that. I was going to let them make copies of that.
Oh, Christy Vanvickle. Oh, excuse me. Your Honor, the state would call Dr. Duke Jennings of the Doctor's Pathology Service.
All right.
What's the name, man? Dr. Duke Jennings, you approach on.
All right.
This witness was not identified.
Is this the witness that you're calling to testify about time of death?
Yes, sir.
Well, of course, I noted the basis for the new trial in the other case was that the medical examiner changed his testimony. And I guess you couldn't have anticipated that change or didn't know about it before the trial. But I think what I'll do is let him testify in rebuttal. Okay.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I thought you'd already made that.
I don't know whether I did or not. I might have.
What is their objection to the record?
It's failing to provide in the manner pursuant to discovery and pursuant to the court's order to provide a list of witnesses for your case in chief 10 days prior to trial.
I don't know how you could anticipate a witness that had previously testified as to the same facts and circumstances would change his testimony. It seems a little unfair, but well, I'm gonna let him testify in rebuttal.
Your Honor, before we... Hey, Paul. Your Honor, on that judicial notice of adjudicated facts, I'd like for you to look at that rule.
What's this going to?
The full name.
No.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably correct, and it would fall under the head of Rule 201B, sub paragraph 2, where the fact to be noticed was capable of accurate and ready determination by resort to sources whose accuracy cannot reasonably be questioned.
And we got the thing from the farmer's
Well,
office.
you know, the Weather Service in Memphis, the ASCS office keeps room records as well, I believe. There are several government agencies that keep it, and it's not really subject to much dispute. So, what you're wanting to do is introduce this table.
Well, John, we just want that's from the commercial.
There's
a
another
better
copy.
one. Yeah, a copy.
That you can tell is on the same day.
That's a better copy.
Yeah,
It just seems to me to be something that's not.
What's in this? Commercial.
Here's a waiver.
Here's the one that you want right here. Really.
Writing number. Make sure they get the writing on the eyes.
You're the weatherman. I'll let you make that.
Here's the almanac.
There's the almanac.
Really full
I've been watching the Weather Channel like I watch ESPN. Yeah, he didn't talk about that.
Well,
He's a frustrated weatherman. It's more like what they're going to take care of. I'm calling over, sir. I'm going to call it school yesterday. Great plan.
will it take you 3 years though?
But they have a degree in astrology too.
What is y'all's position on this?
We don't object.
Okay. They don't object, no.
Okay. Without objection. Is this your book or mine?
That's mine.
One last thing.
Yeah, I got the later version.
He's gonna make those cautionary instructions before the witness to cross-examine.
I don't remember, but I don't have
You
any
can make
objection.
those cautionary instructions before the witness.
Usually. Yeah.
You have a stapler. You have a stapler over there.
Call Christy Vanvickle.
I believe this witness is requested not to be photographed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Come around. You need to raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now pending before the court? So help you God. Have a seat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the court's going to give you a cautionary instruction that the evidence received from this witness would be applicable only to Damien Echols. Anything else, gentlemen? All right.
Would you state your name for the jury?
Christy Vanvickle.
Okay. And do like you just did and speak up best you can, okay, Christy? Are you nervous?
Yes.
All right. How old are you, Christy?
12.
And where do you go to school?
Richland Elementary
Richland Elementary School? Where is that located?
in West Memphis.
Christy, after the murders of the 3 little boys and during the month of May, were you at the girls' softball field one day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you hear somebody say something about the murder of the 3 little boys?
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you hear the person say?
I heard Damien Echols say that he killed the 3 boys.
Okay. And where were you? Was he saying that to you, or what were you doing?
I was walking by with my friend,
Who is your friend?
Jackie Medford.
Jackie Medford? Okay. And is the person that you've referred to as Damien Echols, is he in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Would you point him out for the jury? Okay. Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
It may so reflect.
Now, after you heard him say this, what did you do?
I went up and told my mom.
All right. Is there anybody else in the courtroom that you can see that was present when that statement was made?
Yes, sir.
All right. And would you point that person out for the jury? All right. Which one over there?
Jason Baldwin.
All right. May the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant, Jason Baldwin.
May so reflect.
All right. Were there other people there around when the defendant, Damien Echols, made this statement?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any further questions at this time.
Christy, I'm Scott Davidson, and I've got a couple of questions to ask you too, okay?
Okay.
Okay. First of all, do you remember what day this was that you heard this?
No, sir.
Don't remember when it was? What day of the week was it on?
I don't know.
Don't remember that. And who had you gone to the ballpark with?
My mom took me up there.
And what's your mom's name?
Ann Vanvickle.
Annie Vanvickle?
Ann Vanvickle.
Okay. And who were you with at the ballpark?
Jackie Medford.
Jackie Medford?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
No, sir.
And were you and Jackie walking together?
Yes, sir.
And anybody else walking with you?
No, sir.
And where had you been?
We were walking back from the concession stand.
Walking back from the concession stand? What'd you have with you?
I don't know.
Did you buy anything there?
Can't remember.
And so you'd been to the concession stand and you walked by. Who did you walk by?
Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin.
And was there anybody else there with him?
There was a whole crowd of people over there, but I don't know who they were.
Whole crowd of people? And could you point them out if you saw them?
No, because I don't remember who was up there
Okay.
around them.
But you remembered who Jason and who Damien were, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you know them?
No, sir.
Had you ever seen them before?
No, sir.
But you can point them out here today.
Yes, sir.
And that's the first time you'd ever seen them in your life.
Yes, sir.
What about those other people that were supposedly there with them? Had you ever seen them before?
Yes, sir, but I can't remember who they were.
Can't remember
They
who
played
they
up
were?
at the girls' club, but I don't know who they were.
How many people were there in that group?
About 10,
And who was Damien talking to?
all the people there.
All the people there? And what else did he say?
That's all I heard him say because it scared me, so I ran off.
You took off running?
I went on.
You went on, or did you run? Which one did you do?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Can't remember that. Did you? What did he say before? You say that he said he killed those 3 boys. What did he say before that?
I don't know.
What did he say after that?
I don't know.
And how close were you to him?
I wasn't close.
You weren't close? Did he scream it?
I don't know.
Did he yell it?
I don't know.
So you don't know how close you were to him? Okay. Now, there's a police officer out there that night, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
After you heard this, did you walk over to the police officer and tell him this?
No, sir.
Okay. Who did you tell about it?
My mom.
Was she there at the ballpark that night?
Yes, sir.
Did she take you over to tell the police officer?
No, sir.
When did you finally tell somebody about this?
About a few weeks or a week after I heard it.
Okay. And it was after Damien had been arrested, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you look at it in the newspaper?
No, sir.
Okay. And that's when you went and told someone, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What time was it that you heard this?
I don't know.
Were you playing softball that night?
My sister was.
What time was her game?
In the afternoon sometime.
In the afternoon? Okay. But you didn't walk over and tell that police officer that day, did you?
No, sir.
Christy, when Mr. Davidson asked you how far away, I'm not sure whether he meant feet or, to give an estimate. In this courtroom, is there something that you can tell the jury about how far you were from the group? Let me ask you this way. Was it this close or further away?
It was farther.
Okay. Was it this close or further away?
It was about right there or
About
further.
right where I am?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 15 or 20 feet? Something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Now, that night when you left the ballpark, who did you go with?
Donna Medford,
Who's Donna Medford?
Jackie Medford's mom,
Okay. How old's Jackie?
11.
Okay. So when you left the ballpark that night, you were in the car with Jackie Medford's mom, Donna?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any further questions. No.
How old were you again?
12.
What? How old were you? Maybe 11?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
All right, you can stand down. Call your next witness.
Call Jodee Medford. You're going to sing for the Bible after the camera.
All right, again, this witness is requested not to be photographed. And the same instruction that I've given you previously, that this testimony will apply only to the defendant Damien Echols. Raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now pending before the court, so help you God?
I do.
Absolutely.
If that's too close, you can push it away a little bit. Would you state your name and where you go to school for the jury?
Jodee Medford, West Memphis and West.
West Junior High?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, Jodee?
15.
Who are your brothers and sisters? Or just sisters, if that's all it is?
Jessica and Jackie Medford.
Okay. And Jodee, I want to direct your attention to May of 1993, after the murders of the 3 little boys. Did you have an occasion to be at the softball field and hear a comment in regard to the murders?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell the jury first what you heard.
I heard Damien Echols say that he killed the 3 little boys, and before he turned himself in, that he was going to kill 2 more, and he already had one of them picked out.
Okay. And where were you with your sister Jackie at that time?
No, sir.
All right. Where were you in relation to the group he was talking to?
I was walking around the corner from where he was standing.
Okay. The corner of what?
The concession stand.
Okay. And now, do you know before this happened, did you know who Damien Echols was?
No, sir.
All right. When you heard this comment, what did you do?
I went and told my mom.
Okay. And what did he say again?
He said I killed the 3 little boys, and before I turn myself in, then I'm going to kill 2 more, and I already have one of them picked out.
All right. Now, is the person that made this statement in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you point him out for the jury?
Right there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant,
They
Damien
may
Echols.
so reflect.
Now, after you heard, when you heard this comment, how far from him were you?
Just, I don't...
Well,
not very
not
far.
in feet, but I mean in terms of point to something.
Like,
before-
from me and you.
Okay. Was it light or dark?
It was light. It was in the evening.
Okay. But it was still light.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got a few questions for you now. Okay, Jodee?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, were you playing softball that night?
Yes, sir.
And what time was your game?
Probably about 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Was it dark?
When I played my game?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
What time did you get to the ballpark?
About 5:30.
5:30?
Yes, sir.
Why'd you go so early?
My sisters had ball games.
Okay. And who are your sisters?
Jessica and Jackie Medford.
Jessica and Jackie. And who took you to the ballpark?
My mom.
Okay. And now, where had you gone when you say you heard this conversation? Where had you been, and when you say you came by, where had you been?
Excuse me.
Had you been to the concession stand? Is that what you said?
No, I was just walking around the corner, gonna go talk to some of my friends, and I saw him and I heard him.
Okay. Who were you with?
No one. But
Nobody?
myself.
Were you with Miss Vanvickle that just testified?
No, we weren't together.
You weren't together?
No, sir.
Is she a friend of yours?
Yes, sir.
And did she come home with you all that night?
Yes, sir.
Did you see her when this was said?
I saw her telling my mom when I went to tell my mom.
Okay. When you say you heard this conversation, did you see Christy? She wasn't around.
No, sir.
Okay. So you were by yourself?
Yes, sir.
How many people you think were out there?
At the ball field?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was a lot.
Okay. A lot of people out there walking by and stuff.
Hmm.
You were around the concession stand?
Yes, sir.
And how far is that away from the ball field there?
It's in the middle of all the fields. Like the concession stand and the fields come out from it.
Oh, fields all the way around it and the concession stand in the middle?
Yes, sir.
A lot of people in there?
By the concession stand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but mostly kids.
Okay. Were games going on at the time?
Yes, sir.
People yelling at the games and that sort of thing?
Yeah, but you could still hear him say
Okay.
it.
Now, you were by yourself when you walked by.
Yes, sir.
You say you saw Damien Echols. Who was with him?
I don't know. It was just a bunch of people that he was talking to that their backs were turned to me.
So he was facing you and everybody else was facing the other way.
Facing him.
How many people were there with him?
I'd say about 6 or 7.
6 or 7. And who were these 6 or 7 people?
I don't know.
Don't know them at all?
No, sir.
Could you pick them out today if they were in the courtroom?
No, sir.
Had you ever met Damien Echols before?
No, sir.
Did you know who he was?
No, sir.
Never seen him before?
No, sir.
First time you ever saw him?
Yes, sir.
And hadn't seen him since?
On TV.
On TV?
Mm-hmm.
Seen him a lot on TV, hadn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You've been watching this, hadn't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Been watching it every day this week?
Pretty much.
You know what's been said and what hadn't been said, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So, what time was it that you heard this statement?
Probably about 6:30.
At 6:30.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what day this was?
No, sir.
Never seen him since that time, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you, and you were by yourself?
Yes, sir.
Now, have you given a statement before to Diane Hester of the West Memphis Police Department?
Yes, sir.
Now, you told her, and did you sign this statement and write it yourself?
One of them I did, the other one she wrote.
One of them you did? Now, in the statement, do you recall telling, can I approach Your Honor? You'd never telling the officer that I don't know him, I just know of him?
I knew like that he had been at the girls' club that night, and then when I saw him, they told me who he was.
Who told you who he was?
Just a group of girls.
There's a lot of people talking about him, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't recognize anybody else that was with him?
I saw Jason Baldwin there, but he wasn't. He was like standing by where you buy the food at.
And who else did you see there?
That's just them two.
Who?
Just them two.
Nobody else?
Hmm.
Think about it.
No, that's all.
In your earlier statement, didn't you say that Heather was there, standing right by him? You want to look at this?
Oh, yes, sir. She was. She was standing right by him.
Oh, okay. So now you're remembering that.
Yes, sir.
Did you talk with Heather about this?
No, sir. I don't know her.
Now, you were by yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
In your earlier statement, you said you were with your sister Jackie, didn't you? You want to look there? Right under the pink card.
I wasn't with her, but when I walked around, I saw him like at the corner with my mom, talking to my mom.
Oh, so when you made this earlier statement, this just wasn't right then, is that right? You weren't with her, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And you also said that you were with her friend Christy Vanvickle.
Mhm.
Is that not right either?
They were talking to my mom at the corner.
So when you heard this, you weren't with them.
Right.
Had you heard people talking about Damien before this?
Yes, sir.
Do you think he was kind of weird or something?
Yes, sir, because he was dressed all in black and his hair was jet black and long and shaved on the side.
Y'all always thought he was kind of weird looking, didn't you?
I had never seen him before that
You
night.
never seen him before? You hear people call him Edward Scissorhands?
No, sir.
You didn't hear that? Okay. Now, how far were you away from him when you heard this conversation? Did you earlier say about from this distance?
Yes, sir.
And would you agree with me that that's about 25 feet?
I guess.
And what did he say before he said this?
Before he said that he killed him,
Yes.
I don't know. I was walking around and I just heard him. He said that I killed the 3 little boys, and I turned around because that didn't sound right. And then he finished what he was saying.
And tell me what else he said.
He said I killed the 3 little boys, and before I turn myself in, I'm going to kill 2 more, and I already have one of them picked out.
Okay. And then what did he say?
And I went off and told my mom,
You went and told your mom, and who is your mom?
Donna Medford.
There was a police officer out there that night, wasn't there?
I can't remember.
You don't remember? Did you and your mom go to the police station then?
Yes, sir.
That night?
No, not that night.
When did you go to the police station?
I guess
But was it the day you made this statement?
No, the day I went, she wrote it.
Would it have been on the 7th day of June?
Yes, sir.
So that's after you'd seen this on TV, isn't it?
No, sir.
No, sir?
Well, I think...
When did you
yes,
first...
Yes, it was. Because I was, babysitting, and I saw him on TV, and I called my mom and told her that was him. And she said, okay.
Okay, so only after you saw something on TV did you contact the police. Is that what you're telling us?
But I had told my mom. Yes, sir.
You had told your mom? You and your mom hadn't talked with the police before then, had you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Jodee, Mr. Davidson asked you about this statement about you saying you don't know him, you just know of him, and questioned whether that was the first time that you'd ever seen him. Down here at the bottom of the same statement, what did you tell the police in your statement? Right, where it starts was that was
the first time I'd ever seen Damien, and he might... What? Oh, he was there too the next night.
So you did tell the police that was the first time you'd seen him?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Now, is there any doubt in your mind who it was you heard say this?
No, sir.
Alright. Now, he also asked about your statement in here that you were with your sister Jackie and her friend Christy. How did you get to the ballpark that night?
My mom.
And who else? Who was with you?
It was me, my mom, Jessica, and Jackie, and Christy.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
I did leave something. Quit too soon. Now, earlier you said that's the only time you'd seen Damien. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And is that the way you remember it now? That's the only time you saw him?
Yes, sir.
In the statement that you gave the police, is it true that you said that was the first time I ever seen Damien, and the next night he was there too? Or did you see him that next night?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's not true then, is it? You saw him more than once then.
No, the first time I saw him was the night that he said that.
But earlier in our testimony, what you said here today, you said that's the only time you'd ever seen him. Now, what is it?
It was the first time I seen him, not the only time.
What about who else was there with you?
With me?
Yeah.
At the girls' club?
Mm-hmm.
Jessica and Jackie and Christy. And my mom.
Who is Katie Hendricks?
My cousin.
And wasn't she there too?
Yes, sir, but we didn't bring her or anything.
Okay. What did he say the next night?
I wasn't around him.
Jodee, I did fail to ask one question. Of those 6 or 7 people who you can't remember who they were standing around Damien, did any of those 6 or 7 people say that they killed the 3 little boys?
No, sir.
I don't have any further questions.
Archie may stand down. You're free to go. Call your next witness.
Donna Medford. Your Honor, while they're getting Mrs. Medford, we would offer as State's Exhibit 124 sheet showing the weather conditions May the 5th with the phase of the moon, the sunrise, sunset, that information. State's Exhibit 124.
No objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it may be received without objection. You may exhibit to the jury.
Your Honor, 2 are the same copy, but one of them doesn't show the date.
All right. Raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now pending before the court? So help you God.
Yes.
Have a seat. Pardon? The same instruction that I've previously given you, that this testimony is to be considered only as to the defendant, Damien Echols.
Could you state your name? Excuse me.
Donna Medford.
All right. Mrs. Medford, do you have family?
Yes.
And who are those
I
family
have a
members?
son and 3 daughters.
All right. And you married?
Yes.
All right. And what's your husband's name?
Eugene.
Mrs. Medford, I want to direct your attention to May of 1993, after the murders of the 3 little boys. Were you at the girls' club one night when your daughter Jodee told you some information about what somebody had said?
Yes.
All right. And what were the circumstances when she told you what was said?
Well, when I first remember her saying anything to me is when we got in the car ready to leave.
Okay.
And she and several of the others that were with me were telling me, chattering. Okay,
What did Jodee
what did Jodee
say?
She got in the car.
Your Honor, they've implied recent fabrication in their questioning of Jodee Medford, and it's an exception to the hearsay rule when there's a charge of recent fabrication. They ask when she first went to the police department, suggesting that because she didn't report it until after it had been in the papers of the arrest, that somehow that was the basis of her statement. No, it's not.
Well, I know the exception you're talking about. I'm just, the witness is available and did testify and was here for cross-examination. I'm going to allow you to go ahead.
Thank you. And what did Jodee say that she heard?
She said that the boys that were there, and of course I knew because I had seen them there, that they had said that they had killed the 3 little boys, and that, Damien had.
Well, how did she describe him?
The weird-looking boy that was there that night,
All right,
dressed in black.
Okay, let me show you. Is this your signature on this? This is just to refresh your recollection.
Yes.
Just, let's see, this part right here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, is that what she said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, how did she describe him?
How did she describe him?
Uh-huh.
The weird-looking boy with the black hair that was there.
And what did she say that he said?
She said that he had killed the 3 little boys, and that before he got arrested, he was going to kill 2 more, and that he had one picked out already.
I don't further questions, Your Honor.
Now, Mrs. Hendricks did,
Medford.
Medford. I was reading something else at the same time. Mrs. Medford, what time did you all go to the ballpark?
Oh, about 6 o'clock. I've got two girls that play ball, and we're there just about every night.
Okay. And had you ever met Damien?
Never.
You just saw him that night.
He came in right behind me.
Did she tell you his name?
No, did not know his name.
Didn't know his name?
No.
Did you see him talking with anybody?
No, I was watching the ball game.
Okay. Now, so your daughter described him as the weird black-haired boy.
And I knew immediately who she was talking about.
Knew immediately?
Immediately.
Okay. And you say that your daughter told you in the car as you were going home?
Yes.
What time were you going home?
I don't know. I don't know what time our games were, but it was dark.
Okay. And how far down the road did you get before she told you this?
I got in the car.
Okay. And so she didn't come over and tell you this earlier. She told you this in the car.
Well, she had a ball game.
Okay. And when she told you this, there was a police officer out there that night, wasn't there?
No.
There was not?
Not that I don't know. I did not see a police officer. I didn't know. I don't think that it's something that they normally have as police officers patrolling the girls' club, because it's a real secure, safe area.
Did you see a police officer that night?
I was watching the ball game. I did not see a police officer myself.
Okay. Did you take your daughter down to the police station?
No.
Do you remember the date that you were out there?
I remember that, I believe it was a Thursday night before Memorial Day, because this was a subject of when we went on our trip. This was something that was talked about on our trip also.
Okay.
And it was
You all have
within a
talked
day or
about
two.
this a lot in the family, is that right?
We talked about it that weekend.
Okay. Now, when did you notify the police of this?
The day he was arrested.
The day he was arrested?
I didn't actually notify the police. I notified the director of the girls' club.
Okay. And that was the day you saw it on TV?
Well, it was the day that I was at work and my daughter saw him on TV, and she called me up and said, "Mama, it's really him. It's really him. It was the man. It's the boy that said that at the girls' club." And I said, "Well, I'm going to have to wait until I see that for myself."
Okay. And you never took your daughter to the...
Not till afterwards, no.
And you didn't see this conversation taking place, did you?
No.
After you reported this to the director of the girls' club, did the police later contact you?
Yes.
You didn't seek out
No.
to be up here as a witness?
No, definitely not, no.
I don't have any further questions.
Is that it? All right, you're free to go. Thank you, ma'am. Call your next witness. Is that it? All right, you're free to go. Thank you, ma'am. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, we would offer State's Exhibit 123.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. You're going to have to let me see it. But if it is, then I'll give that same instruction.
Judge, we'll object to this based on best evidence rule and also based, this is an original document. We also object to the relevancy of this.
I'll be glad to supply the original.
Could we see the entire black book the state's looking at?
We got copies of everything in here.
Okay, thank you.
Stipulated as.
Could we see the original black book?
Sure.
Thank you. Mark it up.
Let me see the copy.
Renew our objection to relevance on the fact that this is something that they did 2 years ago. I don't know that it's damaging, but it's something that they got out of the juvenile file 2 years ago.
Your Honor, actually, I thought somebody that he gave it to us, but I'm not positive about that. Your
Well,
Honor,
you put a chain of evidence on it.
you stipulated that he wrote this. I don't care when it was.
I agree, I stipulated that was his right.
All right, Your Honor,
We didn't agree that it would be coming at it.
that's true. Your Honor, the relevance is, if you'll recall, Dr. Griffiths testified that there was some confusion because some of the symbols on that little spell book, or whatever you want to call it, was Wicca, and some of it was Satanism, which weren't consistent with each other. And in this little writing, he talks about how he's in the middle. Sometimes he's in the black, sometimes he's in the white. And he's trying to be in the middle, which is perfectly consistent with what Dr. Griffiths testified to about.
This is something 2 years prior.
Okay.
It's part of that entire thing.
We would renew all of our earlier objections to those earlier ones.
All right.
As far as this goes.
Judge, we'd request the entire book and all my client's writings be introduced in evidence. We'd object to just a part of the parcel being taken out.
We certainly don't have any objection to that, Your Honor.
Including,
All right, then they all may be received without objection. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the same cautionary instruction previously given that the writings of the defendant, Damien Echols, and will obviously relate only to him as far as your consideration of the evidence. Is that the instruction you all wanted? All right.
Yes, it'll be 123. Exhibit, Your Honor.
Yes, you may. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, can we have just a moment?
All right, you want to take a 10-minute recess?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with the usual admonition not to discuss the case, we're going to stand in recess for just 10 minutes.
Won't let it. I will be in the middle.
All right, again, you're reminded of previous instructions forward. That evidence applies only to Damien Echols.
Your Honor, with that, the state rests save possible rebuttal.
approach the bench, Your Honor.
All right. You go on and make motions. Is that what you're doing? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need you to step back into the jury room with the usual admonition not to discuss the case. It shouldn't take us a whole long time, so just a few minutes, please. Case in chief. All right, gentlemen.
Your Honor, on behalf of the defendant, Jason Baldwin, we would move for a directed verdict.
That'll be denied.
Your Honor, we would base our motion for a directed verdict on the sufficiency of the evidence and that there has been a lack of evidence to place Jason Baldwin at the scene of the crime. There has been no eyewitness identify him as being the perpetrator. There is no evidence whatsoever to tie him
the act of homicide of any one individual or a group, 2 or 3. There's no connection. There's been no evidence of placing at the scene. There's been no introduction of any scientific evidence to link him to this homicide, and we move for direct verdict.
That motion will be denied. The court's of the opinion the prima facie case has been made, and I don't feel the need to even comment on the evidence at this point. I think it's more than sufficient
Judge,
for
on
the
behalf
jury's
of
consideration.
On behalf of our client, Damien Echols, we'd also like to, at this time at the close of the state's case, make a motion for directed verdict for lack of sufficiency of the evidence. It's our position that the state has not met its prima facie case on the evidence. Particularly, the court's aware of even the circumstantial evidence instruction and how that would relate to the case. The court's aware of what the evidence that's been adduced by the state, and it's our position that the state has not been able to even make the prima facie case at this point, and move to that the court grant our motion for directed verdict.
Again, a similar ruling. The court's of the opinion that the state has met its burden of producing at least a prima facie case, and that a jury question has been posed by their case alone.
In a like fashion, at the close of the state's case, we would renew our motion for severance. One of the factors for the court to take into consideration at the time of granting the severance is that there is evidence that is introduced more to one defendant than to the other defendant, and that there are indications that that evidence does not apply to the other. That I believe that the evidence, there has been overwhelming evidence that has been introduced in this case that the court has instructed the jury to apply only to Damien Echols and not to the defendant Jason Baldwin. We feel that although that instruction is given, that in order to ensure a fair trial with the jury, that there should be a severance, and that these matters should have been separated, and based on the evidence that has now been produced, we would renew our motion for severance.
The motion will be denied.
Judge, we would also like to join in the last motion of Mr. Ford and the same statements that he made in reference to the reasons for the severance on behalf of Mr. Baldwin, the reverse reasons on behalf of Mr. Echols. And in addition, we'd like to renew all our previous objections raised up to this point of the trial.
I think you have to do that under Arkansas procedure, but your motion for severance will be denied again. All right, call your first witness. Bring the jury back in.
Michelle Lincoln.
Not to talk about my testimony. Not to talk about my testimony.
All right, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now pending before the court. So help you God.
I do.
Have a seat.
You probably need to scoot up, Michelle, and that silver microphone is the one you'll need to talk into. In fact, you can pull it back towards you a little ways if you need to, okay? There, that's okay. Could you state your name, please?
Constance Michelle Echols.
And you go by Michelle, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how old are you?
16.
And are you related to Damien Echols?
Yes, sir. I'm his sister.
You're his sister?
Yes, sir.
And Pamela Hutchison that just testified, how's she related to you?
She's my mother.
She's your mother? Okay. And where do you live?
Right now I live in Lakeshore.
In Lakeshore?
Yes, sir.
Where did you live back in May of 1993?
Broadway Trailer Park.
And is that in West Memphis?
Yes, sir.
And how long did you live there?
I'd say about 5 months.
Okay. And who lived there with you in May of 1993?
My dad, Joe Hutchison, my mother, and my brother.
Your mother and your brother?
Yes, sir.
And did your grandmother also live there?
Yes, sir.
And tell us a little bit about the way the trailer's set up and how you all slept in there.
What, could you explain that to me?
Tell us a little bit about the sleeping arrangements and where people slept in the trailer.
My grandmother slept in the front bedroom, which was right outside the living room. My brother slept in the middle bedroom, and my parents slept in the back bedroom, and most of the time I slept in the living room.
Okay. And where did you keep your belongings and your things?
In the middle bedroom.
And that's where your brother Damien slept?
Yes, sir.
And where did he keep his belongings?
He had a few at the trailer, and he had some at his girlfriend's house.
Okay. And what was his girlfriend's name?
Dominique here.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about, let's go back to May of 1993. And I'm going to ask you about May 5th of 1993. Do you recall that date?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what happened on that date.
Well, my mother took my brother to the doctor, and I stayed home.
Let's start at the beginning of the day, and we'll just walk through this. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
When did you get up that morning?
I would say probably around 9.
Okay. And was your brother there?
I don't remember if he was still there or not that morning.
Okay. And do you remember what happened after that, after you got up?
After I got up, I ate and I took a shower, and I sat home until about 4 o'clock that afternoon.
Okay. Do you remember, you started to say a while ago about your brother going somewhere? Tell us about that.
He had a doctor's appointment on that day.
And who took him to the doctor's appointment?
My mother.
Your mother?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see them leave?
No, sir.
Okay. And what, you said you stayed home till around what time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock? And then what happened at 4 o'clock?
Around 4 o'clock, we went to get my brother and his girlfriend Dominique from the laundromat.
What laundromat is that?
I'm not sure the name of it. I don't really know. It's in close to McDonald's or somewhere is all I can.
Okay. Is it in West Memphis?
Yes, sir.
And why did you go there to pick them up?
He had been over at Jason Baldwin's uncle's house, and we were supposed to meet them there to pick them up.
And when you went over to the laundromat then, who went with you?
My mother and my dad.
And your dad, you're talking about Joe Hutchison, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So the jury understands, were you also adopted by Jack Echols?
Yes, sir.
And so that's the reason your last name is Echols?
Yes, sir.
But your natural father is Joe Hutchison?
Yes, sir.
And, okay. Now, so you and Joe and your mother Pam, all of you all went to the laundromat.
Yes, sir.
And who was there at the laundromat?
Damien and Dominique.
Anybody else there?
Not that I can remember, no, sir.
Okay. And so when you picked them up, did they get in the car there with you?
Yes, sir.
And where did you all go then?
To the best I can recall, we went to the pharmacy.
Okay. And what did you go to the pharmacy for?
To pick up Damien's medicine, or to give them the prescription.
Okay. And then from there, where did you go?
To Lakeshore.
To Lakeshore?
Yes, sir.
And at Lakeshore, what did you go there for?
To take Dominique home.
Okay. And so, did Dominique stay there at Lakeshore then?
Yes, sir.
Is that where she lived?
Yes, sir.
And where did you go then?
We went back home.
And when you say we, who are you talking about?
Me, my mother, my dad, and my brother, Damien.
Okay, so Damien went home with you.
Yes, sir.
And what did you do then?
We stayed home until around, I guess, 20 to 7.
And what'd you do then?
We went over to Randy and Susan Sanders' house.
And who went to Randy and Susan Sanders' house?
Me, my mother, my dad, and Damien.
And what happened when you, well, how far is it? How long did it take you to get over there?
Probably around 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, and when you got over there, what happened?
We went inside and no one was there except for Jennifer, which is their daughter.
Okay. And how long would you say you stayed there?
I would say around 30 minutes.
What happened while you were there?
We talked to Jennifer for a few minutes, and around 7 at the time, 90210 came on over there.
90210?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
It's kind of like a soap opera for teenagers.
And do you like that show?
Yes, sir.
And were you watching that show?
Yes, sir.
Did you watch all of that show?
No, sir.
Why did you not watch all of it?
We left before it went off.
Okay. And where did you go from there?
Home.
Who went home with you?
Me, my mother, my dad, and my brother.
And what did you do the rest of the evening?
Well, when we got home, I used the phone, and then Damien took the phone till about 10 or 10:30 that night.
When you say he took the phone, what did you mean by that?
People started calling him. He was using the phone.
Did he talk on the phone a lot?
Yes, sir.
And you remember him talking on the phone that evening?
Yes, sir.
What do you remember about him talking on the phone?
Well, the only thing really I remember is girls calling, and I would give him the phone, and he would take the phone in the bedroom and talk to them.
Okay. And how did you feel about him using the phone that evening?
I would get on to him about it because I
Why?
wanted to use it.
Because you wanted to use it, okay.
Mhm.
What time did you go to bed?
Probably around 10:30 or 11.
And do you recall about when your brother went to bed?
After he got off the phone, the last phone call, which was around 10:30, he ate some ice cream and then he went to bed.
Okay. Now, you slept on the couch that evening. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in that particular room, is that where the front door to the trailer is located?
Yes, sir.
Did you see your brother leave that night?
No, sir.
Did you hear him leave that night?
No, sir.
What kind of sleeper are you?
I'm a very light sleeper.
Didn't see him leave at all that night.
No, sir.
Do you recall waking up the next day?
Yes, sir.
Around what time did you get up?
Probably around 9 or 10.
And was your brother there?
Yes, sir.
Where was he?
In the bed.
He was still in bed.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me just a minute. That's all.
It's Michelle, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Michelle, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and if you don't understand any, please ask, and I'll try to rephrase them, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, Michelle, prior to testifying here today, who have you gone over your testimony with?
I haven't talked about my testimony. I've talked about the case.
Okay. Who have you discussed the facts or the circumstances surrounding May 5th with?
My parents.
Okay. Have you all sat down and discussed what each of you remember about that particular evening?
Not every detail, no.
Have you discussed it with anyone else?
Not that I can remember, no, sir.
Okay. How many times have you and your parents discussed what your testimony would be here?
Excuse me?
How many times have you and your parents discussed these facts about which you testified here today?
I don't know exactly how many times.
Have you got an estimate? Be more than one?
Yes, sir.
More than 50?
No, sir.
What's your best estimate?
I'd say around 4 or 5.
Okay. And when was the first time you recall y'all sitting down trying to determine, discussing the facts of what happened on the 5th? When do you remember first doing that?
The first day they took Damien in for questioning.
Okay. And at that time, you, your mother, and who else discussed it?
My dad.
Okay. And do you recall ever having discussed it with anyone else?
Not that I can recall, no, sir.
Now, would it be a fair representation to say that your brother, at the time that these, back in the early part of May, dressed pretty distinctively? You could pick him out of a crowd the way he dressed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he usually wear this long, dark trench coat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you know what happened to that trench coat?
What happened to it?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we still have it.
Okay. And do you know if that trench coat left the house or was ever located at another location?
I don't know.
Okay. And could you describe what that trench coat looked like for us?
It was just long, black, and it had a split in the back of it.
Okay. And how far down would it come?
Below the knee.
Okay. And would it be pretty accurate to say that he wore this pretty much all the time if he was out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've seen it since the time of his arrest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall where you've seen it?
I think it was at the apartment that we moved in.
Okay. Would that have been where you moved into from the trailer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see it at the trailer after his arrest?
Yes, sir.
Hanging in a closet or?
In my closet.
Okay. Now, when you say your closet, is that in a bedroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whose bedroom is that?
Mine.
Okay. And does Damien have clothes in that closet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does he have drawers with clothes in them?
No, sir.
Okay. Did he, even though it's called Michelle's bedroom, that's why you refer to it? Are you telling us that you didn't stay in there very often or sleep in there?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. And the night before the 5th, do you remember if you spent the night in that bed, or if you slept in that bedroom that night?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember the night after the 5th, if you slept in that bedroom?
I don't think I did.
Okay. Do you remember if Damien slept in that bedroom on the 4th?
On the 4th? Yes, sir, he did.
Okay, he did?
Yes, sir.
Did he sleep there on the 3rd?
I don't know.
Okay. Did he sleep there on the 6th?
I don't know.
Okay. Now, did you discuss those dates with your folks about where Damien was on those dates?
No, sir.
Now, there wasn't anything unusual about going over to the Sanders, was there?
No, sir.
Okay. And y'all did that frequently?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did they call you? Were you aware of why y'all went over there that night?
We just went over there for a visit.
Okay. To your knowledge, had you received any phone calls to come over there, or the Sanders inviting you over to visit?
No, sir, they don't have a phone.
Okay. And did you, as soon as you got there, are you saying it was apparent that they weren't there?
When we went inside, it was.
Okay. Now, did you know where they had gone?
Yes, sir, their daughter told us.
Okay. And you indicated, you remember giving a statement to the officers about what took place, or your recollection of what occurred on the 5th of May of 1993? Or not to an officer, but Mr. Fogelman. Remember giving a statement to him?
On the 5th?
No, in September, about what took place on the 5th.
Yes, sir, I remember going there.
Okay. And you remember in that statement that you indicated that you stayed there for 30 minutes waiting for Susan and Randy to get back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if on this particular occasion, when you get there, you know they're gone out of state even, why did you say in the statement that you would wait 30 minutes for them to get back?
To see if they would come back soon.
When you arrived there, did you not receive any information about when they had left?
Yes, sir, she said when they left, but I don't recall the time.
When was the last time prior to that you'd been to the Sanders residence?
I would say a couple days before.
Okay. And in fact, y'all lived with the Sanders when you moved back from Oregon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and prior to that, y'all had lived for periods of up to a year at a time in the same household with the Sanders?
Yes, sir.
Would y'all go visit them once you moved back here from Oregon, once, twice, 3 times a week?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you familiar with your brother's beliefs as far as his religious practices?
I knew about his religious preferences, yes.
Okay. Were you familiar with his tattoos that he had? Had you seen them?
I hadn't paid any attention to them, no.
Okay. Do you remember? Can you tell me where the ones were that you had observed or that you had seen?
On his chest.
Okay, and what can you describe for us what that tattoo on his chest looked like?
To me, it looks like something you'd find, sort of like a stick woman or something.
Would it be like a pentagram? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what a pentagram looks like.
There's one of your brother's books with a drawing of it on the front, but I can't find it right now. It's kind of star-shaped in a circle.
No, sir.
Okay. And so you had seen another one that looked like what?
To me, it reminds me of a woman.
Okay. A stick figure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was the circle part down?
There's a circle at the top with a stick thing down.
Okay. Did you notice any of the other tattoos he had?
No.
Okay. Do you remember, have you ever noticed one that he has on his hand?
No, sir.
Okay. Never noticed that. Are y'all pretty close?
No, not really.
Okay. What percentages of his, you said he had certain clothes in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Was most of his stuff at the trailer, or was most of the stuff at his girlfriend's?
I believe most of it was at the trailer.
Okay. And if I understand, that day y'all go and pick them up at the laundromat, go by the pharmacy, then go home, and then go to the Sanders.
We took Dominique home before we went home.
Okay. Took Dominique home, go by the pharmacy, go home, and go to the Sanders. Is that correct?
No, so we went to the pharmacy and then took Dominique home.
Okay.
And then we went home, and then we went to the Sanders.
One second, Your Honor. Let me ask you this, Michelle. You remember during this time period back in May of '93, you remember your parents separating?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Remember talking to Mr. Baldwin and him asking you if you knew when that was, as far
Yes.
as the date?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you indicated to him you weren't sure when that happened.
Right.
About how long were they separated?
I'd say approximately 2 to 3 weeks.
Would it be, and I don't want to, I'm not doing this to pick on you, but was there an argument kind of that led up to their separation, kind of blow up, so to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you recall that occurring, you just don't know when it was exactly?
Yes, sir.
Pass witness.
All right, you may stand down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 10-minute recess with the usual admonition not to discuss the case.